notes. I got the whole 9.
You have your PowerPoint ready?
I do.
All right, welcome in. We have our resident Broncos fan in here today. Our correspondent from Denver. Actually, not from Denver at all. I came prepared as well. I got my Brian Dawkins Broncos jersey, as every true Broncos fan has. And Brady, how are you feeling today, brother?
I'm honored to be a part of the Scary Hours pod. I'm an AWO. I've been on your guys' ass about this pod for a month now. So I'm ready to get into the details. Let you know why we're going 10-7, and let's get into it.
I just want to obviously originally ask, like, how are you feeling since the announcement has happened today? Man, it's got to be one of the biggest days of your entire life.
It is, and I'm not trying to be overly optimistic. Like 10-7 is a floor for us. So I mean, I'm
yeah.
Listen, there's mixed reviews. We were talking about today, so you guys know Michael Schuster.
Of course.
Yes.
I said a realistic floor for Bo Nix is an Alex Smith type quarterback, someone that's what you're getting, stability, and I'm talking about the latter portion of his Niners days into Kansas City. Someone that's stable, you know what you're getting. He's going to make safe throws. He's dynamic with his legs. And he can go off script if he needs to.
His
leg, yeah. God forbid Bo Nix has both by the end of his career, but
he will. He definitely will.
Yeah, for sure will.
Houston was selling me on his floor being Josh Rosen and his ceiling being Ryan Fitzpatrick. I thought that was a little disrespectful.
You never want to hear the name Josh Rosen.
I'd be so pissed if somebody told me that.
Yeah, and I mean he's been the highest graded PFF player of all rookies, not just quarterbacks, all rookies so far in the preseason.
I knew that was coming too. I knew that was coming.
The future.
Listen,
I knew that stat was coming out at some point.
He's John Elway, but I'm not saying he's John Elway.
Yeah, no, I completely understand that.
Yeah. So
Brady, question for you. I think you're the only Broncos fan that I actually know. I don't know if I've ever asked, but how did you end up becoming a Broncos fan?
It's actually a good question. I think born in 97. So like the first, team you remember seeing in newspapers and whatever else is just mostly Broncos because you had Elway, Terrell Davis. And then also my older brother, who's 6 years older, he was a Broncos fan because he loved those two guys too. And so I kind of just followed suit with my older brother.
Fair.
Even though he's not anymore, but yeah.
Well,
there's plenty of time to get back on the bandwagon.
And it's the perfect time.
Hey, well, first, before we obviously get ahead of ourselves, let's hop into what they did in the 2023 season. They went 8-9, home record 5-4, away record 3-5. One of my favorite games of the entire season is I placed a nuclear missile whale play on the Broncos money line when they were on the road in Buffalo, and they had the PI call, then rushed out onto the field, kicked the field goal, only 10 men on the field. And then they go and they kick the game winner to win it all. I mean, what more can you want out of a football game from our Broncos?
Dude, that 5-game stretch, you could have sold me on. It was to the moon at that point.
Yeah.
It was, even with Russie, I swear that's for another discussion. Because I know you guys just did the Steelers pod. We don't need to get back into Russell Wilson because honestly, I don't really want to. But no, that was an electric 5-game stretch.
And it's crazy that you could have even talked yourself into that because that was probably the worst winning football in a 5-game stretch of all time.
Yes, it was 5 straight against the Packers, Chiefs, Bills, Browns, Vikings. I think is what I have here.
Yeah,
it
that's a pretty impressive 5-game stretch.
No, that meant more than you guys know. That was, it's been a dark 8 years.
Yeah.
And so quality wins.
Yeah.
Ugly football, but quality wins. Russ was to the point where he was just saying, fuck it, Cortland is down there. And
he was down there though.
Yeah, I mean, you look at the recap of the top catches from last year. Cortland has like 4 in the top 10. He was just banking on Cortland.
He was up there. Yeah,
but
he had a great year of not having 1,000 yards.
Incredible. The greatest non-1,000-yard season I've ever seen.
Yep.
I think the first
they did have some really bad losses though too. If we're being honest,
who'd they lose to?
I mean,
they lost to Vegas twice, the Commanders and the Patriots.
The Patriots at
4 game.
The Patriots at the end of the season really stung because we still had an outside shot at the playoffs at that point. But the week before that, or it was 2 weeks before that, we lost to the Texans, which ended the 5-game winning streak. And so that just killed any wind in the sails. And from there, it was over. But
it was over before it even began.
Yeah.
Exactly. I think probably what Broncos fans can look forward to the most is the Sean Payton impact that it automatically has made them 150 times better. He's never had a season where he's won fewer than 7 games, so that's good. And then you go out and you draft your quarterback of the future. So he obviously has a type. I would probably describe it as you get Bo Nix, you get rid of Russ because he couldn't get the ball out fast and he took entirely too many sacks. Yeah. And then you get Bo Nix, who FBS record 77.4% completion percentage. He gets rid of the ball fast. He's decisive with his decision making. And like you said, he gives them an extremely safe floor. And I think that that's something that the Broncos fans can look forward to for a really long time is you have a guy who isn't going to lose you games. And if you put a decent roster around him, I could see him giving all of the guys on the offense a safe floor to go out and win games. But I don't think that he's a world beater.
Do you think I actually have a best case scenario for Bo Nix? And Stevie might think this is disrespectful, but I think best case scenario is Jared Goff.
I don't know if they have similar styles of play. I think Bo Nix is a little more dynamic than Jared Goff. But yeah, I mean,
I agree. I agree he's more dynamic. I'm talking in terms of that's about how good I think he could be. Is he's going to be a high-level game manager.
I would take that in a heartbeat.
But you're going to need really good players around him too.
100%. Yeah, I mean, like obviously you can go back to Sean Payton's tenure in New Orleans, and it's just a lot of obviously they called Michael Thomas slant boy, and he made. I mean, honestly, New Orleans made a bunch of guys who were, if they were on other rosters, they gave them solid receiving careers. I mean, Marcus Colson has borderline Hoff numbers, and if he went to a different team, would he have even had a 5-year career? Like, they just gave guys. Yeah. So you don't need fantastic receivers. I mean, if Bo Nix goes out and is the first quarterback to have an 80% completion percentage, I would not be shocked.
Wow.
That'd be insane.
Nah, yeah. I mean, I'm just gonna sneak in some hot takes while I can, but we have the weapons. It's not like we're completely void of guys to throw to. I mean, obviously we brought Cortland back. I like the addition of Josh Reynolds a lot. Just another guy you know what you're getting out of. The return of Tim Patrick, who people don't know was actually our best receiver prior to getting hurt, even with Cortland on the field. And then, I mean, I know you like to get into additions and departures at some point. If you guys want to get into additions now.
Let's get into the losses that they had. They obviously traded away Jerry Jeudy. That was the most needed thing of all time. That relationship just seems so shitty.
Yeah.
And if he was ever going to be something, it was not going to be in Denver. And I'm pretty skeptical that he'll be good, honestly, anywhere that he goes. Yeah. And then obviously you cut Russ. Russ is completely dog shit, so you had to do it. Sean Payton fucking hated him. He was like, stop acting like the president, like before he even walked into the building. Like, you knew that he did not like that guy. And then is there anybody else of note that you think that we should bring up? I'm sure that you have your guys.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know too much about some of them. We got Brandon Jones from the Dolphins. He's a spot safety that we'll get because we lost, obviously, Justin Simmons. So we got Brandon Jones. And then on the D-line, we had Malcolm Roach from the Saints, John Franklin Myers from the Jets. And then obviously we got Zach Wilson for whatever the fuck that's worth. And then Josh Reynolds as well. And then draft class, I think this one, I'm hoping this is our GM, George Payton. I hope this is his best one. I mean, Bo Nix, Jonah Ellis, edge defender from Utah, Troy Franklin, receiver from Oregon, who the hell knows with that guy, and then Audric Estime, running back from Notre Dame. So
I think Estime might be a dog.
I think so.
I was just going to say that too. He was a guy that I really liked coming out of Notre Dame.
Yeah. Is
he? My first question, we just went over that, but I have a real question about like what you think about their running back room, because from the looks of it, Javonte Williams looked absolutely chalked last year, but now you're fantasy starting to roll around. You're starting to hear some like good things about him. Is he back, or like, are you worried about him? And from their backups, like I like Samaje Perine. You watch Jaleel McLaughlin actually play some pretty good football. I think he's kind of a sleeper, good running back in the NFL. And then you drafted Estime. Like, I like that those guys that they have in their running back room. I guess my main question is, do you think that Javonte Williams is chalked?
No, I mean, that's the thing. They don't have a guy, but they have a good committee. With Javonte, I mean, you always hear about guys, once they're a full year removed off of that ACL injury is when they return to form. Javonte last year, I think he averaged 3.7 yards per carry. Not great. So I mean, he's still young. He proved his rookie season that he can be a lead back in the NFL. So that's kind of just remains to be seen if he returns back to 100% of what he was. But even if he's not, I mean, like you said, Jaleel McLaughlin, the rookie from Notre Dame, and then Blake Watson, an undrafted rookie he started at ODU, and then I forget where we got him out of. Yeah. He'll make the roster as well. Yeah. So
yeah, like super deep cut.
Dude, we're talking about a team that turned Phillip Lindsay, an undrafted rookie, into a Pro Bowler. So like you don't know what's gonna happen.
Yeah, that is true. You don't know.
That's crazy. Another deep cut too. People forgot about him. He had 2 good years and then fell off the face of the earth.
2-year career and went to the CFL. So
that's right. I did want to ask you about these weapons a little bit more. So I feel like you didn't talk enough about Jaleel McLaughlin, because that guy was also your leading targets for receiving, which is probably not great.
No.
Heading into this season, I don't think you really want your running back to be your lead receiver. I could be wrong.
I feel like that's so skewed. Russ was an absolute check down merchant last season, bro. Like that like he was at any chance that Russ got, he was just dumping it to the right.
This guy still had 20 more targets than Cortland Sutton.
Yeah. Russ.
Yeah, I mean,
that's insane.
Yeah.
Those were the numbers last year, but the offense will look completely different. I don't think McLaughlin's going to have nearly those targets. He's going to be an X factor, I think, but he's not going to have Russell Wilson just like throwing to him every other play.
Checking it down left and right.
Yeah.
What is your thoughts on Marvin Mims?
Yeah, good
go
question.
ahead, Steve.
Marvin Mims was one of those guys where like he rarely touched the ball, but when he did, it went for 60 yards. I didn't know why we didn't target him more last year. There probably just wasn't as much of a role with him because we realized that Russ didn't have the same deep ball as we all knew him to be in Seattle. He just didn't air it out like that anymore, and if he did, it was going to Cortland. So I mean, he made the Pro Bowl in special teams, and I think he'll have a bigger role in the actual receiving game this year. But again, we'll have to see how targets look and who they all go to with those 4 receivers I mentioned earlier.
I think he's just like the definition of like a deep threat. Like, that's how you're getting out of him.
He's like Jamison Williams in Detroit. Like he's not going to touch the ball a lot, but when he does, it's going to be for a splash play.
Have you seen anything out of Tim Patrick that would make you believe that he is going? I know he's a little older. Well, he's got to be like 29, right? 29, 30. And he is coming off of what? A torn Achilles and a torn ACL?
The Klay Thompson, yeah.
Do you think
30? He's 30.
Yeah.
Do you think that could be a recipe for disaster potentially coming back?
Yeah, I mean, I'm not as high on him as I was when he was 26, 27 and was garnering more targets than Cortland. But, I mean, he scored his first touchdown in 2 years in that preseason game against the Packers over the weekend. So, I mean, as long as he stays healthy, I have no qualms with him. I think he can get back to 80-90% of what he was, which is all we need, honestly. He's not going to come out and I don't expect him to get 1,000 yards, but if he can get 700 to 800 and 5 to 6 touchdowns out of him, that's
all you need him to do.
Yeah. Number 2, like Courtland Sutton is your number 1 for sure. If you can have a decent number 2 in there, and then, I mean, on occasion, have Marvin Mims slide in and be wide receiver 3. I don't. Yeah. You guys brought in another wide receiver though, right?
Josh Reynolds. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, you don't really need him to go out there and have 1,400 yards by any means. I mean, if you can get 1,000, amazing. But 750 will do the job.
Exactly. Yeah.
My next thing that I want to get into here is I want to hear what you think this team, what makes them special. The first thing that I'm going to say is I think Pat Surtain's one of the best defensive players in all of football, period. And he just doesn't really get that credit because he's on a team that's kind of dwindling as of right now. But I think he's the best corner. And I think that in a few years that he's going to definitely make that statement that he's one of the best players on the defensive side of the ball. He's a dog.
Yeah. No, I agree. I mean, and it's not even really for us to say. I mean, you go and look at whenever on social media, you'll see cornerbacks or receivers ranking their top 5 DBs. I've never seen a list in the last 2 years without PS2 in the top 5, if not top 3. So, I mean, he's an elite player. He's the only elite player we have as of this moment. So, God forbid anything happens to him, we'd actually be fucked. But
Is there anything that you think that Noah, do you have anything that you think that makes this team special? And then I want Brady to maybe give us a look that we're not seeing that makes this team what they are.
I mean, I agree with the Pat Surtain comment. I think it kind of goes a little under the radar, just how, like, I think Sean Payton's a really good head coach. I just think that the situation last year was just dog shit, and I don't think anybody could have really done that great of a job with what they had out there last year. I mean, they still won 8 games and were on the verge of making the playoffs at the very end of the season. But I think Sean Payton's a really good head coach, and I think you got to feel pretty good about him going into 2024 and kind of having like a clean slate as a Broncos fan. With him at the helm, like, he's finally going to get an opportunity to kind of build out this team as to like what he envisions. And I just think it should be pointed out that he's one of the better head coaches that we've probably seen.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know how you can't, I said this to somebody the other day when there was a Steelers fan that I was arguing with. I don't know why, they're idiots, but I was like, Russ sucks. Even Sean Payton wanted to get rid of him. And they were like, what has Sean Payton done lately? I'm like, well, the Broncos roster was brutal. He was retired last year and they won 8 games. He was retired. And then before that, every single Saints team for like ever was like extremely relevant. So he's one of the best options as a head coach that you can possibly have. And something that Noah always brings up, I'm sure that you heard him say before, he's an offensive minded head coach. So you know that offense is not going to go anywhere.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, with Sean Payton, I don't know how you could judge him from last year in the slightest. That wasn't his team at all. He just fell into that with 0 cap room to work with the second he got there. And he still ended up, we mentioned earlier with that 5-game win streak, we were in playoff contention for a good portion of the year. So, but even in terms of the year before, when we had Nate Hackett, who was maybe the most annoying face to see pop up on your TV of all time.
Hate that guy.
Yeah, he's the worst.
Unbelievable. But that year we averaged 17 points a game. Last year, with pretty much an identical roster, obviously a few changes, we averaged 21. So I'm like, obviously, I'm not going to be overly optimistic this year. Listen, I don't think we're going to go out and win 10 games. If we can win 8 or 9 again, and at least get to week 17 with a shot of the playoffs, just little improvement from the year before, that would be a win in my book. Because I don't see this team making a deep playoff run, even if we do somehow make the wild card. But like I said, we're looking for small improvement to build on for the next year, because our window is realistically 2-3 years down the road. But I'm saying 9 wins, but we'll see.
Are we missing anything when me and Noah look at this football team that you think that we should be paying attention to?
Not anything that's like, not anything special, honestly. I had a few points of emphasis as far as like stuff I'm worried about. Like, so if shit goes wrong, it's because of this. I think, Stevie, I texted you about this a couple weeks ago, but the tight end position in Denver has not been relevant since Julius Thomas with Peyton Manning. Like,
it's been a while. It's been a while.
No, like, we draft. I was so sold on Noah Fant being the next Gronkowski out of Iowa when we drafted him with our first round pick. Same draft we got Drew Lock in. I thought that draft class was going to be the Messiah in Denver. He was. I'm not fully out on Noah Fant, nor am I on Drew Lock.
Hell yeah. Hell yeah.
I still got love for those guys. I do. They're still young. They can still.
They have all the tools. They have all the tools,
dude. They have all the tools. But anyway, especially ever since Fant, he was all right. But especially since him, we've had absolutely fucking nobody. So tight end is a huge point of emphasis. We have Greg Dulcich from UCLA. He's entering his third year. His first 2 years, he's been banged up every single year. So we'll see if he can stay healthy. Next is young D-line. I think John Franklin Myers is a huge addition we got for very cheap. And then we have Nick Bonito from Oklahoma, I believe. He led our team in sacks last year with 8. So we'll see if he keeps improving off that. And then other than that, it's a bunch of unproven guys. I mean, interior, we have DJ Jones. He's a veteran, but we just pressure on the quarterback was a big issue last year. And then lastly, I had our cornerback 2 spot. So our other outside opposite of PS2, Damari Mathis. This is going into his third year. He's from Pitt. He's been absolute burnt toast for 2 straight years.
I don't even know who he is.
No, yeah, there's a reason.
What's the Levi Twitter, Wallace situation looking like? Because you guys signed him this offseason too.
Yeah, he's fine. He's fine. I mean, he's an older guy. He's probably going to get some spot starts maybe, but I don't know too much about him. I know he came from Pittsburgh and whatever else, but we're looking at Jaquan McMillan is going to be our slot corner. He was huge last year in that 5-game winning streak. I think he had 3 turnovers in 3 straight games. So he's a good young corner. And then other than that, we have a white cornerback, Riley Moss from Iowa. So they're hoping that he takes a step up this year and solidifies the CB2 spot. But
I just, the one thing, I mean, if you're hoping that a white guy steps up for the CB2 spot, you're completely fucked.
No, yeah. Yeah, but I mean, other than that, I just didn't really understand. I mean, Noah, you guys got Caden Stearns, who we released for some reason, safety out of Texas, who was actually a very good player in his first. He got hurt last year, but his rookie year, he was very promising. I don't know why we released him. There probably was some in-house stuff that didn't get let out to the media. And then obviously Justin Simmons. My thing with that is I still don't know why you keep Cortland Sutton but let go of Justin Simmons. I think you either commit to it not being a full rebuild or you do. Because I mean, Justin Simmons has been a captain for 5, 6, 7 years. I don't know the exact amount, but he's been the face of the Broncos his entire career on defense. So I don't understand that move. I think he's going to be phenomenal with Jesse Bates in Atlanta. That's going to be awesome to see. He still is a top 5 safety, very underrated, had over 30 interceptions in his career in Denver. So we'll see if we can replace that shoe.
Yeah,
that was another thing that I was kind of worried about too.
Yeah.
You hate to see a guy like that exit the building after a really good career in Denver. But it seemed like right now was probably the best time for that to happen. But on the opposite side, like, why keep Cortland Sutton too if you're not going full rebuild?
Exactly. And he's at a point in his career where it's like it's now or never. He's 29, 30. Either you commit to playing with one team your whole career or you get that last big contract. So, I mean, I understand it, but it would have been nice to see him retire as a Bronco.
So, weaknesses, I just don't think this roster is any good. I'm sorry. I hate to say that. Like with Noah, like I'll be a complete asshole about like we just
100%.
recorded the Philadelphia Eagles episode, and like that guy was literally tense the entire time how hard I was drilling him. But like I just like
what the hell?
But like at the end of the day, like nobody's expecting the Broncos to win the Super Bowl. So like I just like don't. I think this roster is really far away, but I think that like that's not anybody's fault that's in the building currently, and they just need to have some turnover and fix it, and that's pretty much all they can do right now.
No, yeah, don't get me wrong. On paper, they're still pretty dog shit. This is all coming from an optimistic Broncos fan.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I wouldn't expect anything less.
Yeah, there's still glaring holes, uncertainties, question marks across the board, as there are with a lot of teams. But I don't know. I'm just so like there's a few things we didn't touch on from last year, which I'm looking to see how that fares this year. Still, like Russ took, I think you guys mentioned it on the Steelers episode, but he had 45 sacks taken last year.
Yeah.
And look at the names on our O-line, Ben Powers, who we signed to a big contract from Baltimore last year, Mike McGlinchey, who is not the greatest in pass pro, but he's a great run protecting tackle. Lloyd Cushenberry, who just got a bag from Tennessee. You look at the names on that O-line last year, that's not an O-line that's ever giving up over 40 sacks, let alone 45. I'm looking to see that number go down a lot. I think it will. Just getting the ball out quicker. Since Russ doesn't have the same athleticism anymore and he was staying in the pocket, he literally just couldn't see over our O-line. McGlinchey's like 6'9". Yeah. And so, I'm looking for that to improve. And then also, this is more of a Russ thing, but I'm just seeing how Nick sees the field. Because last year, I know we touched on Judy, but there were plays where every game, 5 plays, Judy would be 30 yards open, and Russ just did not see the entire left side of the field.
Yeah.
It was the most frustrating, mind-boggling thing to see. So I'm honestly just looking to see how well does Bo Nix see the field? Will the 75% completion percentage in college translate? Those are things I'm looking for, and I'm excited to watch.
Noah, do you have anything?
One thing that I wanted to mention last year, not to like kind of rain on the 8 and 9 parade, was just how effective they were at causing turnovers. In that 5-game stretch, they had a turnover margin of plus 13, which is nuts. And that's really why they ended up, respectfully, that's really why they ended up winning a lot of those games. They were 0-8 if they lost the turnover battle, and they were 8-1 if they won. And it's not like that's like an insane thing, because I feel like in most situations, if you're a team that wins the turnover battle, you're probably going to win the game. But like for a team to rely that heavy on turning the ball over and not being able to overcome that, what are your thoughts about that heading into this season? Like, I don't think it's realistic to have the mindset of, okay, I know what we did turnover wise last year. Let's just hope for that same thing this year. Because realistically, that's what won you guys a lot of games.
100%. And don't get me wrong, like there's a huge luck factor into turnovers. So that could be the case for any team, any week where you just get lucky winning the turnover battle. It's kind of like there's a lot of factors in the game like that. But as far as the actual defense itself, like week 3, when we got 70 on our head, I was thinking we might be seeing like a generationally bad season from this team. I was prepared for all outcomes. That's why the 5-game win streak felt that much sweeter off of 70 points. I was like, why did we give Vance Joseph, who's our D coordinator, you fire him as head coach 3 years prior, and then you bring him back as D coordinator? I've never seen that. I've never fucking seen that. I was surprised the guy wanted to come back. Like, would you ever go back to an employer who fired you?
I did not know that. I honestly had no
I didn't either.
Would you ever go back to an employer that fired you? I wouldn't even fucking consider
if they were giving me the bag. Yeah.
Oh my God. Not
How much money did they pay him to come back to be the DC?
I mean, I'm sure he got a bag.
That's just a bad management move on their part.
Vance Joseph's sneaky. Yeah. He put some good defenses out with the Cardinals.
He does. And after that third week, it might have taken to the fifth or sixth week to really see the defense that took us into that win streak. But they changed something. I honestly couldn't pinpoint it, and the defense looked like a completely different unit the second half of the year. So I'm just hoping that also carries over. But again, that we'll see.
All right. To round this out, you kind of gave your 2024 predictions, but I also want to hear what you think about the West and the teams in the West and how you kind of think things shake out and who's the best teams and who's the worst. I mean, obviously the Chiefs are in that division, but that's a boring answer. So what are you feeling about this division and where the Broncos could potentially finish?
Dude, I mean, they finished second last year. I'm going second again. I think I'm so sick of the Chargers and Raiders. I hate them somehow more than the Chiefs because I'm just so used to the Chiefs' greatness. And it's like at this point, you know what you're getting. And the only thing I have to say about the Chargers and the Raiders is every single year, this is primarily the Chargers, we hear some new storyline narrative about how this is the year the Chargers are a serious contender. Never, ever does it even come to fruition in the slightest. Something happens. Granted, it's injuries a lot of the times, but they always choke in some facet. So I'm absolutely out on the Chargers. Yeah, they have Harbaugh now. That'll be interesting. But with that roster, it's a worse roster on paper than the Broncos are. I don't care. So fuck the Chargers. The Raiders.
Time out.
The Raiders are going to be so bad. I did want to talk about the Chargers.
They have Joey Bosa. They have Khalil Mack, who had how many sacks last season, Noah? Did you say
17?
He had 17 sacks last season. And then they have Derwin James still. Okay. Like, they still have guys on that team. Like
Derwin James has played 12 games in his career.
He was fully healthy all year last year.
I mean, yeah. But, no, yeah, those are great players. If they single-handedly carry them to a winning season, I'll take back everything I said. But we have yet to see that.
What were you about to say about the Raiders?
Didn't Antonio Pierce get fired from Arizona State like 3 years ago?
Yeah.
And now he's an NFL head coach?
Yeah.
Who signed off on that?
I think that is the worst hire of all time. Noah loves it because Noah's just like a vibes guy. And
I like him, but I hate the roster.
No, if you like Antonio, like car dealerships are coming after that guy to garnish his wages. He's a bad guy.
Dude, that's like working. That's like getting fired.
Not a bad guy.
He is.
I don't understand how he got there. That's like getting fired from a car dealership and then you get hired by Goldman Sachs.
Yeah, like he fell ass backwards into the job.
No, it makes no sense.
I'm trying to do that.
But Antonio Pierce completely fell ass backwards into this job. Yeah. He was just the guy sitting around, and now he has the head coaching job. I've never seen somebody more unqualified to coach a fucking NFL football team like in my entire life.
That's the word I'm looking for.
Besides Brandon Staley.
Yeah.
Well, I hate Brandon Staley.
He might be the most unqualified guy.
So it sounds like you hate the Raiders then.
Yeah, I mean, I hate the Raiders. Like, it's the same story every year for those two teams. So until it's seen where those guys make a playoff run, I mean, Derek Carr he made the wild card a few times, but we were never actually worried about them because it's inevitable. We split every year with the Chargers and Raiders. Yeah. Maybe we win both matchups against one of those teams this year. We'll see, but no, there's no chance. I'm not worried about them. The Chiefs and the other, I mean, we already know about the Chiefs. I don't want to talk about that.
Well, what do you think about the Chiefs?
What do you think about the Chiefs receiving core?
No, they're going to three-peat for sure. Like, this year is mainly just for fantasy football, and like they already won.
That's crazy.
I'm not here to tell you.
You're not even going to watch the season play out. The Chiefs just won.
No, they did.
Taylor Swift's going to be out there singing songs at the Super Bowl.
Yeah. Has a team ever three-peated?
So crazy.
No.
Yeah, those will be the first one. We'll see.
Listen, I disagree. I disagree about the receiving core. I
don't
think it's
so.
still trash.
I think same here. I don't think it's that good.
I just think it's trash. I think it's flat trash. I think Kelsey's another year older. We obviously watched him kind of be checked out all year last year. I think Rashee Rice is really good. I think Xavier Worthy is questionable, and because he has to prove it, obviously. And then lastly, Hollywood Brown isn't good. Like, I don't care what anybody says.
He's got the
like
butter hands.
He's been on 3 teams in 4 years. Like, he is not a good if he was a good football player, he'd be on 1 team. Like, he's just not good.
He had some fun games in Arizona when he was healthy, but yeah, he's very inconsistent with injuries and drops. But I mean, dude, you could give Mahomes the Shippensburg receiving corps, and they're winning 10 games. Like, I'm not worried about.
That's crazy. That's crazy.
It is, but I just don't see a way where they're not right back in at least the AFC Championship. And then by that point, Mahomes is the most experienced quarterback in the league. So who else? Yeah, it does. And it's kind of almost boring because you know what's going to happen. But if you guys, like, realistically, not even a dark horse, like, who would you say is the Super Bowl matchup right now?
Super Bowl matchup right now, I'd probably go like Bears Ravens.
I got Jets Packers.
All right. Packers, Ravens, I like those. Bears, Jets. No, I can't see that. But I mean,
you don't think a healthy Aaron Rodgers can take the Jets to the Super Bowl?
Dude, I don't know what else. No, I don't. They have. I think if you shut down Garrett Wilson, I don't know where Aaron Rodgers goes from there. You see,
he just
all
turns
these
around
clips,
and gives it to Breece Hall.
That's true, but I mean, that's you have two guys to worry about, which can be enough sometimes. But like, have you seen any other press about any guys in that offense the entire offseason other than Garrett Wilson and Breece Hall?
No.
Oh no, Mike Williams. Sorry, is
Alan Lazard has had a good camp.
Yeah,
Alan Lazard's had a great camp, dude.
I've heard
I heard Randall Cobb's coming back too.
Yeah, that should fare well.
No, that's a good point. I mean, they don't really have much, but I mean, I don't think they need much from an offensive perspective. Like, I think that they just need to be competent on offense and have somebody to be able to distribute the ball slightly. I think their defense is legitimately that special to be able to get them over the hump. To back my Bears take, Bears are going to have a top 10 defense this season for sure. They're going to that core is going to ascend. I think they're going to shock a lot of people. And from the offense and Caleb Williams, I think that it's like a little bit of a stretch, but I think that if they start playing and heating up, and I mean, I don't think that there's a more talented core of skill players in the entire league than what the Bears have. And I think that if it clicks and that defense plays at a top 10 level, which I think they can, I just feel like that's a team that might shock like a lot of people this season. And I don't know. I just like what they've done and won 7 games last year, added Caleb Williams, added more talent. I don't know. Obviously that's a dark horse pick, but I do like the Bears a lot this season.
Yeah. No, I like that too. I mean,
Bears defense is criminally underrated. Like, it's so disrespected. It's unbelievable. Yeah. That defense was very, very good last year. And if you have an offense that's competent and doesn't force your defense to be out on the field for 3 full quarters, I think you're going to see the best version of them this year.
And I'm not trying to be like, I think that there's like a real possibility that Caleb Williams is like already a top 10 quarterback in the NFL. Like, I don't think that that's crazy to say. The flashes that we've seen from him so far have been like special. And like, I think that he's just going to continue to get better as time goes. I don't think that he's going to get any worse. So, and he's just set, like, who he is set up with on the offensive side of the ball with Keenan Allen, Rome Odunze, and DJ Moore and Cole Kmet at tight end is like, there's so much reliability and like experience on that offense. It's just like, I just don't think we've ever seen someone walk into a situation as good as this. And it's like going to be the first time we watch it play out. I think it could lead to big things.
Yeah, I mean, I agree. We've never seen a rookie quarterback come into these sort of weapons. But side note was, is Matthew Judon okay? Choosing the Falcons over.
I don't get that at all.
Yeah, that was crazy.
I didn't know.
Is
so
he from Atlanta?
Choose it.
It has to be something like that, because that could have been an actual scary. Not that they're not going to be good already, but
I didn't know that he chose the Bears over the Falcons.
Yeah, I thought that was very interesting.
Yeah,
he's from Baton Rouge,
so
not really close. Yeah,
interesting.
Who would your Super Bowl pick be? Since me and Noah ripped ours off, like, who do you think right now, if you had to choose?
I mean, I hate being basic and just saying rematch, but like, I think those are still clearly the two best teams in the NFL. But I would say, let's say it's not the Chiefs. I agree with the Ravens. I think this is finally the year they put it all together, barring injury, obviously. If Lamar won another MVP again, would not shock me. But I would say, so Chiefs aside, let's go Ravens, and then let's go a different team than the Niners. I like Packers. I like that a lot. I'll say Ravens, Packers.
Yeah, I love the Packers this year, as do a lot of people. Now
we've never had the same matchup back to back. It's insane the run that the Chiefs are going on, but having the Niners get there again would be just absurd.
Yeah, I don't think I just feel like either of those teams getting back would be absurd.
The Chiefs are way more likely. Correct. I could see something very wrong going for the Niners this year. I don't know what that would be exactly, but I can just the vibes just seem off over in Santa Clara.
Bro, we dropped a video last night of like teams to sell stock on, and that was my last team. I said the Niners. It's just the Super Bowl hangover for them is just it's so obvious. Like there's nothing. We always do this every single year where there's a team who's going to be really good, and it's obvious that they don't have it this year. Like I'm fading them, but
the Niners have fought so hard to get to the Super Bowl to like finally have their moment, and they finally got there, and it just fell right through their fingertips. So it's definitely not out of the question for them to have an insane Super Bowl hangover.
It has a few times. All right, let's round out the episode. I'm gonna give my 2024 prediction for the Broncos. I'm gonna go. I think they do the exact same thing that they did last year. I think the Sean Payton Bo Nix relationship. I think it's gonna go well year one. I'm excited to watch it play out. I think that he got the exact sort of guy that he needs to run his offense in an efficient way. And I think that their offense is going to be a lot better. I think their defense probably takes a little bit of a step back, but that 7 to 8 win mark, I feel like is an extremely realistic spot for the Broncos to be.
I got them at 7-10. I got them at 7-10, but I think this 7-10 this year feels even better than the 8-9 they had last year.
Wow.
I don't know how that works.
What does that mean?
I can't
because
there
was just so much shit that happened last year, and it just felt like it was such a mess, and they still somehow ended up 8-9. I think they do have. I do think that Bo Nix can get them to 7 wins, and I think you feel really good about his progression and his growth throughout the season. Even though you only win 7 games.
He's good. You're good.
You're good.
Oh, no.
He's about to go through the router out.
He took off, bro. He literally took off. Look, his computer died. Let's see if he can connect right now, or if he's just cooked.
That's crazy. That's hilarious.
Oh man, dude, I can't believe that they died. Kai and Speed died.
They didn't beat it.
They died right away.
How long?
Like
Yeah.
we
He just texted us. He said, "I'm so sorry. My computer just died."
Hey, perfect way to. I
hilarious.
think that's a perfect way to end what the Broncos fans have going on. And that's an embodiment of it.
Brady, you'll have to get all the way to this part of the episode to see it, but thank you for joining. The lone Broncos fan in most people's lives, probably.